welcome to our business feature. Today is what, week 5, right, of our business feature at Business Garage. We've been doing the series Rebuilding Business, and it's been my absolute pleasure to keep bringing you these stories and asking people these incredible questions about what they have been through as businesses. We've been bringing you kingdom businesses, Ugandan kingdom businesses, young people involved in business, and they've been telling you their stories, showing you that it is indeed possible. Today I am a little extra excited because it's a girl. I get to sit with another girl and have some girl chat about business. But don't be deceived, my friend. It's still it's going to be a story of resilience, a story of starting small with big dreams and seeing them come to pass over time. Again, a lot of resilience. So call your friends, tell them to tune in and get ready to ask lots of questions. I'd like you to help me make welcome Lydia to Business Garage. Thank you so much for being here. How are the nerves? Have they calmed down? Lydia has been telling me she's nervous, but if you're nervous to have so be very cool. Gigi, what is it? What is
okay.
it? You're okay?
Yes.
Hey, very good, very good. All right, Lydia, tell us a little bit about yourself. What business you run, who you are, a little bit.
Lydia Naiga Sison is my name. We run a business in a medical waste disposal, basically hazard waste management. We pick up waste from hospitals all over and we transport it for disposal at our plant in Nakasaja. Basically, that's what we do. We pick up medical waste from hospitals, everything. Once you fall sick as a person and you go to a hospital, we pick up your medical waste and we take it for treatment.
Wow. You know, that's not one of the businesses that I have personally even thought about, as in terms of when people are thinking business. I want to first of all hear, did you study medicine?
No, I went to law school.
You went to law school. So tell us, how does a lawyer end up in a business that treats medical waste? Tell us your story, Lydia. How did you end up in business? Where did this journey begin?
11 years ago, I was employed with a company called GTV, and I fall sick and I go to one of the facilities. So as I'm waiting for my lab results and everything, I engage with a person who was in charge of doing the lab tests. So I asked them, what do you do with this waste after you've taken off the blood, the cotton, and the swabs? And the person tells me, actually, we just put the waste in a jerry can and we take the waste behind and we burn it. So I think a week after that, the company I was working with just went bankrupt. They closed.
A week after you asked
A week
these
after
questions.
that, I'm sick at a clinic and the company just closes abruptly. Here I am thinking, okay, now what am I going to do? With my law degree, after I've gone through a tough year at LDC and all that, I'm like, am I going to go into practice? But I sat down and thought, what do I do? Thought at the idea I'd listened to of the waste ending up in a jerry can and open pit burning. So I wake up and say, I'm going to open up a company with nothing about any business into running a company. I don't know anything about medical waste disposal. I go and register a company, being the lawyer that I am, on my desk, draft everything. So I go and tell one of my sisters and I'm like, you know, I'm going to open up a company. So she looks at me and says, we spent all this money paying school fees for you and you're not going to a law firm.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm going to tell you, we are not going to support this. You're either in a law firm or you never come back home.
Did you think she was serious about this?
She was serious. So I walked out of her house. I went and looked for a house. I said, I'll pay rent. I'm never going back home. This one has told me you can't come back home because of, you have to be in a law firm. So she was like, she's not a risk taker for all we care at home. Her life is career, office, back home.
Which is the life of most career people. Like, it's normal, right?
So in my head, I'm like, you know what? Just ignore her. As long as you pay your rent, start a company, just ignore her. I do exactly that. I go to one of my other sisters who is the biggest risk taker in the family. She was running her own company then. So I tell her, and she's like, yes, you know the other land we own? If you actually come back with a signed contract, I'll give you my portion and you take the portion you own. So I'm like, okay. Let me go and start. So my mind was, she has told me to go and open up. Once I come with a contract signed, she will give me the other portion we shared in Kira then. It was around 15 million. So I'm like, okay. I've never pitched. I write. I'm like, who are the clients I'm going to visit? I go through. Monday morning, I have no license, no way I'm taking the waste. I do not know what I'm doing. I walk up to a hospital who is currently my client, and I pitch with an idea which I had picked up from a hospital where I worked in London when I used to go for my vacation.
So why don't you first tell us this story by the Lydia? You're jumping, they can't be, you're jumping it too fast. Tell us about this. So Lydia, a part of your story that you've not told is that your parents, died when you were quite young, right?
Yes.
So within a space of 1 month, you lost both your dad and your mom, and suddenly your world changed. So you were raised, why your sister is annoyed is because people have worked hard to finally put you through school. This orphan girl, you have a law degree. Do you know how serious that is in our society? You're a lawyer. They has a sense of pride. You're looking at me like you're confused. You mean you don't know? It's very serious. And so now here you are with your crazy ideas. So tell us the story of London. How do you end up in London? What did you do there? That whole journey of how you started, your work life sort of. How old are you? No, how old are you at this point? Please. No. She's just 18 years old with shipping and handling. Small. Mm-hmm.
So in my Essex vacation, I think my siblings were worried about me being here for a very long time. So they decide Lydia goes to England for holiday. So they do everything, invitation, I get my visa. And I go, yes, I'm an orphan, but a blessed orphan.
It's true, people are laughing. They're like, you're stressed, let's take her to London. Anyway,
no,
yeah.
They were worried I was actually, I think, going to probably be partying and everything. So they're like, you know what? We ship her off. So I get to London, stay with my auntie. She stayed 5 minutes away from a hospital. So I go to this hospital. Things were very easy then in England. You'd actually just walk in and find a job and work using someone's names.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I walked to a hospital.
Did bad things.
Yes. I go to a hospital and I apply for a job and they give me that job as serving food at this hospital, catering for people in the intensive care unit. So I get there, I see how they're doing everything. I go on, but what I told myself, every single shift which came up for work, I picked up all the shifts. So my bosses were like, Hope is a reliable person, so we can call her. So here you are at work, they call you Hope, you forget, hey, my name is Lydia. But I'm like, let's move
so
on.
Bad.
So I pick up all these shifts.
Oh dear.
So I worked for a whole year.
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking, okay. So I pick up the different ideas, what happens is a company which comes in and picks up the waste and takes it for destruction. So that's when I picked the idea.
So actually you were introduced to this whole thing, but at that point were you thinking, I want to do a business someday with this? Just that you were in a space where you noticed what was happening? And is that what makes you ask the question at the hospital in Uganda, what do you do with the medical waste?
No, this was how many years after that? Law school is 4 years, LD6 is like 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
8 years later.
And I'm thinking, now what do? I go to hospital out of curiosity. I'm a very talkative person. So I just engaged the lady. It was like after 8 years, I didn't think I would pick the same idea I saw in the UK.
Of course.
Back home.
But it did influence you.
It did influence me, but I think the whole point was, here I am, I'm unemployed. I've been earning a different amount of money. And how am I going to go back into a law firm where I'm going to earn little money? So I said, no way. I'm not going to go and earn this little money. There's something about lawyers, they all get engrossed into this whole thing. I'm a lawyer, but you have to be, for a lawyer, I think, to go through, you have to be very intentional about your growth in the legal field. That's one thing I know. So if you're not, you'll stick there thinking, okay, I'm a lawyer, and then it doesn't put so much money
On the table.
So I was like, you know what? And I was a very emotional person. I think at LDC, after I did the moot court, I was like, I'm not going to go into this. I'll actually get myself involved into someone's case, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this. So for then I was like, legal? No. So here I am with no knowledge, no nothing.
You've registered a company?
With savings of 11 million.
That might sound like a lot until you hear some of the costs, but 11 million.
My sister has told me, you can't come back home if everything fails. And she's these strict people. So I'm like, okay.
Sister, we send you greetings.
Oh, sister. So I walk into NEMA. I go into some office and I ask a gentleman what is involved into doing medical waste. And the regulations were so many. So I stand and I'm like, will I manage? But I walk out and say, could you please give me a number of a consultant who does the EIA, the first step?
What is EIA, please?
Environmental Impact Assessment. Before you do this kind of business, you need to have a license from NEMA. Here I am. I've pitched at a hospital. They've given me 6 months. A license is nowhere to be gotten because I haven't started. Then I walk out of NEMA. I call this consultant. I'm like, oh, this. And he tells me, you know what? My fees is 11 million.
Meanwhile, please understand, guys, you listen to the story, right? This is a person, a crazy girl who has left home because she has a dream. She has 11 million in savings. She has had to pay rent. You paid rent for 6 months, right? So that you don't worry about rent.
Yes.
Then you've pitched for a business. You have no license. You've called a consultant and he wants.
I've called a consultant. He wants 11 million.
But it is former.
But the company I'm going to work with in the UK is going to supply me the dust bins at £1,500. So rent, 11 million of an EIA. Then I call and talk to a lady. I'm like, I'm just going to ask you, please give me the bins and I send the little money I have. She says, how much money? I say, I have like equivalent of 1 million. I send it to them. Then they send me the dust bins.
Wow.
They actually got here. I'm into the 6 months. Then I walk to a hotel in Entebbe and ask them for a job just to get the little money to run the business I'm starting. I go to the hotel and they ask me how much will I offer. No costing, nothing. I tell them I can do this job at 200,000. They need the waste picked up from the hotel every day.
The hotel is in Entebbe?
It's in Entebbe.
You're from Kampala.
So you're picking up waste from Entebbe to Chitezi. But Chitezi, you're not paying any money. So I'm like, it's okay. I walk to my auntie. I'm like, I'm starting this. I need to borrow your pickup. She says, it's very faulty. It takes a lot of fuel. So I say, it's okay. My auntie gives me her pickup. It is the first car we used. So it would take more than the money I was earning at the hotel. But I was like, it's fine. My cousin was driving the pickup. So I got this gentleman who was earning 2,000 shillings per day. So I'm like, the 2,000, I can meet that cost. Then I meet that cost. I pay him every day. We start picking up. Definitely by the first 3 days, the 200,000 you've quoted for a client is gone. Then I go to my brothers and I'm like, you know what? I need land, which they're going to attach to this EIA. Then they're like, you go and use that land in the village around there. I go and take the consultant. I've paid him 1 million. He has started. I'm like, you start.
The 10 will come.
The 10 will come. Meanwhile, I had to go and find an incinerator because you had to find a place where the waste was going to be deposited. I go to Makerere University, Faculty of Technology. I talked to this gentleman, a professor. So I ask him, I take him through my vision, my dream, and he tells me, there's a small one we can make for you at 35 million. So I said,
a small one.
So I look at Professor Musazi, I'm like, kawa. So I tell him, start.
Bus.
So I give him 1 million.
Now the 1 million seems to be the magic figure.
So the money is going down. So I'm trying to find a buyer for the land which I was given by my sister. I find that actually I went back to the gentleman who sold the same land. I told him we can't take it anymore, please buy it. So he bought at the same price, nothing. So he just gave me 30 million. So there on the 11, which has gone down, I still have money. So I go, I pay the incinerator, I add them some more money, I send some more money to the UK, the bins are here. I get them to my home. That night the bins arrive, thieves come.
Wow.
They took some bins and they left some. But I'm like, I'm pushing
they
on.
were fair. They left some.
So Nema takes long to see it. I begin, 6 months rush by, I begin work, I have no car. No bigger car. The hospital is going to pick up the agreement I did with them. I was like, I'm renting you the dustbins at 40,000 per bin. So that helped me push some more money. They gave me the business, but then they had their own incinerator. So I was just hiring them my bins, and they were giving me money per month per bin. So I got money from there. The hotel got new management. Then the guy comes in and tells me, how much money do you charge? I tell him, he says, do you break even? I said, it's okay, it's okay. So he tells me, just go back and cost your job. So I go back and cost, I go back and tell him 3.5. The man
From
says it's
200,000.
okay. From 200, he says it's okay. He signs the contract, so this car 3.5 is helping me rent, hire the car, pay the gentleman who is working every day. That was about it, I think.
Yeah.
And I start work. Then around that time, KCCA was run by the Lord Mayor then, there were no systems, there was nothing. So all the waste, as the waste came out of the hospitals, it was ending up in all the swamps around Kampala.
Oh dear.
So you go to like Kamocha, you find these kids are playing with the needles, syringes and everything. So around that time, KCCA is born. So most of the waste was ending up in the swamps and at the landfill in Chitezi. So they passed a regulation that you cannot actually run or open a hospital if you do not have a company which is managing your medical waste.
See, breakthrough, just like that, suddenly you're now needed.
You are going to all these clients and selling a product,
And they are not
and they're like,
interested.
no way. A new regulation comes out and they're like, if you have no one doing your medical waste,
We're
you're going to
shutting
be
you down.
closed. KCCS swings in, and I remember I was overwhelmed. Hospitals were calling me, hello? Please come and sign a contract. Please, all the hospitals.
With no pitching this
With
time.
no pitching, nothing. So it was one of those things. Clinics, as in they would keep on arresting. I was literally stuck at KCCA. Okay, a contract, you first pay your first money, and then that's how the clients came on. So money began flowing.
Like this is literally preparation, meeting, opportunity, and destiny is born.
Yes.
Because imagine if you had waited to get ready. What I'm hearing from your story is I think you're one of those people who Apostle Mose would enjoy very much, because you are fire, then aim. You fire, then you aim. First shoot, then you start aiming after that. Because you are, it's like, this is absolute madness. Like everything you're getting yourself into, it's like, this girl doesn't know what she's doing, but somehow, here you are, and it's been 11 years. Now, you told me earlier on about, how this breakthrough then comes. What was your breakthrough? Because first of all, tell us at this point, you're employing yourself, your cousin.
Then I had like 2 gentlemen who were picking up.
So you're like 4 people.
Well, 4 people in the office
In
for
the
quite
office,
some time.
yeah.
Yes.
So now you've suddenly got an influx of customers, right? Which means expansion for you. You told me, meanwhile, can you tell us how long your 35 million incinerator lasted?
Lasted, one thing I know is, it lasted, I think, 6 months to say why. I didn't think that it would actually burn all the wet waste. This is a cotton wool which is soaked up in blood. It is so manual that you had to fill the waste, put a bottle, and then you spray some fuel for it to actually to catch the fire. It was so manual. So here I am telling the boys I'm working with at the site, please, let's just push. We shall get a news. We shall get there. Then I remember they passed another regulation, NEMA. All the hospitals were not allowed to have incinerators around town. So now all the hospitals who had failed to sign on had no option. They had to just come and look for me again. Here in the market, it is me and another company owned by Indians who have all the money. They have brought in this state-of-the-art equipment. I am here with an incinerator, which is so manual, as in you have to just feed it. We are receiving, like from one client, we're receiving 800 kilograms of wet waste.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to think through it and say, we need to have 2 shifts. Some people working during the day and a night shift so that we can take off the backlog. No storage, nothing. Please, if NEMA comes in and there is no storage, they are going to close you. So I push on and push on. That manual incinerator, 6 months. Between that, the credit crunch hits. And this client walks up to me through my other sister who was housing us, the risk taker, comes in and says, this client, they have 400 metric tons of maize for disposal. It's an American company. I go in and pitch. They give me the job. They say cost it. They actually flew in from Kenya and a team flew in from the States. I go in and pitch and I said, I can finish this job in 1 week.
You see what I'm saying? She's crazy.
So I call back this gentleman who actually fabricated the incinerator. I tell him I need a bigger one because I have a job of 400 metric tons of maize. So he tells me, I have one I had fabricated for what, but they've not taken it, but it can work. So I tell him, can I come and pick it up? He says, come and pick it up. I didn't pay for it because the person who had bought it hadn't paid for it.
Wow.
So I transported it. So the team from the States was like, we have to leave after we have taken some pictures of you doing the installation of the maize. So they asked me, how long are you going to do this work? I said, give me 1 week. You'll have your certificates, you'll have the maize all burnt and everything done. Please, I am getting the maize from Luweero. That's where their storage area was, to Nakasaja.
But you people, yeah.
So
how are you transporting 400 metric tons?
I had to go in, get a trailer and tell the guys, I will pay you. These guys are paying me after 3.
And where are they?
But these guys are not understanding. It was actually, it's the maize which had dropped the germination rate. And it's GMO maize, seedlings they give out to people, but had dropped the germination rate from 100 to 98. So they had to destroy it, not to go back on the market. I gave in my quote. I remember I told them 10,000 per kilo. And they said it is okay. They didn't even argue. I gave in the quotation. I sent it to Kenya.
I can't even calculate that, but
that was the breakthrough, I think.
That was your breakthrough.
That was my breakthrough.
Did you manage to do the job in 1 week?
I did the job in 2 weeks. Let's say 3 weeks. We are going to break off for Christmas. I sent in my invoice just before 19th of December. I had no dollar account, I remember. I walked into KCB and I opened up the account. I was like, I have to. They're like, no, we can't accept. I said, the money has to come in from Nairobi. So just like I think on the 20th, KCB made a mistake and opened up, I think, a shilling account and they're paying me in dollars. So I sent and they're like, but the account is in shillings. I said, just hold on. I ran back to the bank. They opened up the account. I sent it. Like around 22nd, oops, the money was too good. I was paid $400,000 for that job.
This is how long had it been between opening and then? I mean, yeah.
This is 2011.
When had you opened?
2009, April 17th.
You remember it. It's like a birthday, right?
Yes.
And that is about 2 years into trying out stuff, right? Like
Yes.
you don't know what you're doing. You're on a dream. You've sort of you've distanced yourself from a person who's been a caregiver, and so here we are now, Lydia. Can you give us a clue? You begin with 11 million in savings, which was too little to do much. And what was your turnaround in the first few years before the big miracle, $400,000? What was your annual turnover? You are employing yourself, including yourself and your cousin, 4 people. So where were you then? Because I want you to paint the picture of what it is like right now.
Then we had almost all the hospitals then in those months, because I think it's a thing of stereotyping. I can't give an Indian, let me support this Ugandan. That's the only thing which helped me, I think. Then I told myself, we are coming into a market, we need to be consistent.
Yes.
We need to be consistent. If I tell a client we are going to pick up 3 times in a week, the big hospitals, we had to pick up 3 times a week. And I told the team, there was no 2 ways about it. There is nothing you tell me we didn't pick up, we didn't do this. And the small clinics, we had to pick up once a week. So that was about it. We had to be consistent.
About how much were you making around that time, like in a year? What was coming through your small business?
Because I had no knowledge about pricing, and among the few mistakes I've done was that I would just come to a person. My whole point was, I need to get you on board.
Yes.
Then we shall cross that bridge after. So I would sit and tell the person, you know what, my competitor was charging per kilo. So I said, they are failing to get clients because they're charging per kilo. How do I do it? So I came up with a round figure for almost all my big clients. So I'd come in and say, how many beds do you have? They tell me. I say, for now, I think we can charge you this amount of money. It was, I think, learning on the job and trying to make sure I get in all these clients, whereby I was like, I'll get them on and then I'll go back and renegotiate after. So it was one of those things of go in, deal with the issue,
yes,
and then price the person after, like I think 6 months, but you've signed a 1-year contract. So it was one of those things, learning on the job.
Yes. So tell us where you are right now as NLS. How many people do you employ? If you can give us an idea of, numbers wise, what does it look like financially for you? You and market share as well. Yeah.
I would like to say, currently we have like 80% of the market share. Why am I saying 80%? All the people playing in the market right now are all dying to have all these big hospitals. Once you have all these big hospitals, it's like you've made it in life. So we have all the big hospitals, I think apart from only one, which I think it is okay, but we shall get that one.
Yes. That's the spirit.
Those are the big, I think we do most of the big hospitals around Kampala. Then roughly we have like 500 clients, but the 500 are mainly made up of the small clinics. The little clinics make up the biggest number, but we have 80% of the market share, I would say.
And how many people do you currently employ?
47 people, yeah.
Those are 47 families who are thankful to God that NLS is alive and their livelihood is pegged to that. You are changing the stories of so many families, Lydia, because of your crazy dream and persistence and just saying, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go online right now and see if we have some questions. But as I look, I wanted to ask you, the last question I want to ask right now is about the future. What do you see? You told me some crazy things you see for NLS. What does the future look like? What do the next 10 years? Because you've hit 11 years. You have hit beyond the survival rate of 99% of businesses in Uganda. So congratulations on that, Lydia.
Thank you.
But tell us, what does the future look like for NLS? What do you see?
Before I was thinking small until I got a coach for my business. And the time I began attending Business Garage, I came into Business Garage thinking, only Kampala, only Uganda. But you come here and I'm like, hey, there's people who can push me more than I can push myself. So because of being around the Business Garage space, I look at NLS, not only being around Kampala, I would want us to be the one-stop waste management company. For now, I'm saying Africa.
For now, just a small
For now,
start.
I'm saying Africa.
Yeah. And you've actually started testing the waters there, right?
Yes, because now you find a client who calls you and says, we have waste in Juba, we need to be disposed of.
Yeah.
So you do everything and you get the waste into Kampala. So I think we are now going outside Kampala.
Wow. Wow, Lydia. Let me read some of the comments here. Ariho Kamara says, Lydia is like dynamite, small in appearance. I told you not to be fooled, but causing national and soon continental kingdom business explosions. We say amen to that. Are there stories? Are there questions? We told you to ask questions. I'm not yet seeing questions. Angela Senfuma says, process and persistence, very encouraging. People are saying they are provoked. We like that you are provoked. Please ask questions right now. We would like to see questions that you have for Lydia. Okay, I don't see questions yet.
What is NLS in full?
What is NLS in full? Yes, please go ahead, Lydia.
Because I am vain.
It's so funny
and I love myself very much. NLS is, to my friends, please stop joking and don't pull this off. It is Naiga Lydia Sison. I love myself that
You're
very much.
telling them not to do it. Why?
Yes, Naiga Lydia Sison.
Yeah.
My name.
But no one will ever know. We think it's something serious.
I've been buzzed by so many people now. Someone actually told me, hey, so the S name is Sison and it's NLS. Yeah, it's Naiga Lydia Sison.
What has been your major challenge in business? Okay, you can maybe answer that, but I feel like you answered it.
My major challenge has been, I don't know why everyone thinks once someone is doing well, they have a godfather.
Yes, somewhere.
Someone thinks I have someone behind NLS. Every single time someone is saying she's not alone, there is someone who, one time as we got some job, I remember some old people walked up to our office in a one room and said, we need to know the person behind NLS. I wasn't in office then. Someone comes in because we had beat them at a job. Then they come in and say, we need to know the person behind NLS. In my head, I was like, you can go to the registrar, find out. It was me then and my sister, a risk taker, who I had to put because you wouldn't register a company then as a sole proprietor. So I had to get the next person who was 5% and I was 95%.
And that was it.
That was it. So I think people not believing that you can actually go out there and run a business, own a business without any backing from anyone.
Apart from God.
Yes.
And Lydia, tell us just lastly, if you could share that story that you told me earlier about the day your license almost got cancelled. That was drama.
That sister of mine who told me never to go back home has suffered with me. This one time I'm traveling for a training to the States. It was paid for by the American Embassy. Or I was nominated Woman Entrepreneur by someone I don't know. I went through a phase of interviews and I merged out as the best NIVLP alumni. It's a program run by the embassy. So someone has to vote you don't know, then you go in and actually face a panel of people. So they were looking for a woman entrepreneur from Uganda. So I happened to be one. So this time I'm going to the States. I'm from the embassy picking up my per diem, my card. As I'm driving, someone sends me a message, calls me and says, but you know you're going to be delicensed. I was driving on the Winton Road. I remember I almost entered the cars which were in front of me. Then I parked, people hooted. I went by the side, I called him, I tell him what? Until come Monday, your trucks are never going to be able to work. So I'm like, why? I call a friend of mine, then I had to call and find out. So someone had actually paid money to make sure we lose our license.
How much money had they paid?
Fees free.
A lot of money. Okay, I won't
say. It
say.
was a lot of money.
It was
80 million to make sure we had no license.
That's someone who's very interested in making sure that that license doesn't continue.
So because we had no license, because we were going, actually the plan was Lydia travels out of the country, jet lagged, sleeping. You wake up to a message.
Yeah.
We are not in business. All the cars have been impounded. So I make some calls. A letter hadn't yet gone out. So I go and meet him and he's like, I've just seen an email. They actually copied him by mistake. He wasn't meant to be in this email. So he's like, I've seen an email. They are sending it to here and here and you're going to be delicensed come Monday. So I tell him, are you sure? So I call, I make different calls. And the boss says, Lydia, please go. Nothing is going to happen. You're going to be in business. I have to make sure we need more companies doing these private companies because we have failed to do the same work. So go and work. You'll come back after 6 months. Everything will be okay. I said, I can't go. Please note, the embassy is calling me. I have a flight the next day. I said, I can't travel. They're like, why? So I think phone calls went around and they were like, please go. Everything will be okay. But all my clients were served. I come back, work was normal. Then that ED calls me and tells me, stop driving a branded car. Here I am thinking I'm marketing. I said, why? Stop driving a branded car. I said, why? He says, you're not a small person in this market. I said, me? Lydia Naiga? Who can want to be against me? He says, stop driving a branded car. I remember I went, gave up my car to the operations person then, and I went back to a normal car with no branding because he told me you need to be careful. It's not easy out there. A young girl your age, you run the market share, not everyone is comfortable.
Wow. And yet God has continued to protect you. You know, hearing all these stories for me has been very challenging, but also has opened up our mind to a world of business in Uganda and how it can be cutthroat that we are not usually aware of. People are asking lots of other questions. Which persons do you draw inspiration from? Is there anything you would do differently looking back?
Systems.
You know exactly what you would do differently. What about systems, Lydia?
Because as a one-man show, as doing almost everything, so I would say, I will get there. But I've learned one thing. If you don't have systems in place, you can never come from this small thing, this thing of mine to that big thing. And one other thing I'll never ever do again, employing out of pity. And a friend comes to you and says, I know this person, they need a job, please help them because of this. I am done.
Yeah, quality of people.
I can't. You always compromise. In the end, you are the bad person. You're trying to help, but you become the bad person. So I don't think I can do that anymore.
So those are two things: personnel, quality of personnel, and building systems from the very beginning. Lydia, your story has been a story of inspiration, a story of just starting with a dream and sticking with it and just going. You start, and then as you go along, you fix it and you figure it out, saying yes before the resources show up, persistence, dreaming. Joseph Rabo said the questions you're asking, don't worry, maybe the turnover in terms of numbers, one deal, what is it in 2020? 80% market share. You can go and do your research and find out what that looks like in numbers, people. But right now, I'd like to welcome on set Apostle Moses Mukise, who usually helps us wrap this thing up so well and ask some questions that we have not been able to ask from the mind of a business coach. Welcome, Mose.
Thank you. My friends call me Mose. Wow, Lydia.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Social distancing. I feel like giving you a hug. I'm not allowed to. That's awesome. Let's just. People. I've been watching the comments. People are like, she should come back. Everyone wants Lydia to come back because your story is incredibly inspiring. So this whole Godfather thing. I think your business has a Godfather. Yes.
It's true. It does. We talked about it earlier. It does have a Godfather.
It's God the Father.
He is the one. That is your Godfather.
Your Godfather is God the Father. When God is fighting for you, for me, that's been a major point I picked out from your story, that you're not, because people expect that to be at this level of success, you are the one out there trying to kill everyone and cut off people's feet. But when you know that there is a God in heaven who fights for those who are facing injustice, then it's impossible to fail. So thank you so much, Lydia. I have like maybe 3 things here that so that was the first one. The people who don't know who is behind NLS, they need to read the Bible. Then they'll find out the person behind NLS. Here is another thing. Some of those comments.
Wow, I know.
Some of those comments. Yeah, we send you greetings. Lots of your friends. Now, one of the things I really picked out for me, one of the main takeouts from this interview is the ready, fire, aim.
Aim. That is your type of person.
Ready, fire, aim. Here is how some people do it.
Ready.
Yeah? They get ready.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Then they get
ready.
You keep asking them, when are you starting that business? Oh, we are preparing.
We are planning, actually.
Ready, ready. 3 years later, they are still ready.
Not yet, they are ready.
Then they start aiming. Aim.
The target moves.
Aim. What's the point? So I like the fact that Lydia is a ready, fire, aim person. That's why there are those missiles, which, like the Tomahawk. You fire, then you aim it wherever you want it to go. So faith is really technology working in advance. But true. I'm really inspired by that. And here is the thing that I think underlies that. When opportunity meets preparation, destiny happens. Yeah. Your role is preparation. Yes. And then your responsibility is preparation. God's responsibility is opportunity. But what is slowing everyone down is they want to both prepare, then they want to play God.
Yeah.
They want to also create the opportunity. The opportunity will never come to a person who is not prepared. Yeah? I think I first heard this from Kamara, that Noah didn't start building the ark after it started raining. Yeah. David didn't start practicing after he saw Goliath. He didn't take one look at Goliath and say, I need to find some bears and lions. Wow. Preparation must happen. God is a respecter of preparation. God will bring an incredible opportunity to a prepared person. T.Harv Eker says it's not enough to be in the right place at the right time. You have to be the right person. So somehow Lydia has found herself in the right place at the right time, prepared. Registered company. Yes. Everything is in order. What's that? AIA certificate. The person asks you for 11 million. It's all you have. It could be very easy to say, let's first be figuring this out. Yes. How can we spend all that money? What did she say? Start. That's the biggest word of this morning. Start. Incinerator, 35 million.
1 million start. It's not even a tithe.
Here is 1 million.
Start. Bins.
Start. I think that's the word for today. Start. Brother, sister, uncle, auntie, cousin, nephew, niece, enemy, whatever it is, what? Start. Because if you don't start, you see, people want to see around the bend. They're like, if I don't see around the bend, I will not go. Do you drive like that? Wow. When you leave home driving, you'll be like, I need to first see I need a revelation in the spirit to see all the cars between Nigeria and Nalia before I start driving. Oh, wow. That's not how we live life. So you have to start. Friends, start. Here is the thing. Some of you fear to fail. Failure is part of the whole game. Yeah. John Maxwell wrote a book. Sometimes you learn. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you learn. It's not lose. No, sometimes you learn. When you don't win, you learn something. So we need to start. So I think that's the main message for me this morning. Is preparation will be met by opportunity. Preparation is my thing. Opportunity is God's thing. Some of you are running your businesses out of your phones. Yeah? When they ask, where are you located? Basically, your mobile phone and you.
Yeah.
That's the entire business. They are not going to bring 400 metric tons of maize to burn to a person with a phone and themselves. Something has to be there. Can you imagine? That was your breakthrough moment.
Yes.
I was doing the numbers, $400,000. I was like, I should have met you then.
Now it's better, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Still glad
I went to London that holiday. Yeah.
You ate life.
I didn't touch the office money. I went to relax that Christmas. I think it's the most major shopping I've done because I was paid commission.
Oh.
Yes, I brought the job.
Oh, your company paid you commission.
Yes.
I like this.
Yeah, it's
I
only
like
fair.
This. Yeah.
No,
You see that?
Yeah.
Because some other person
that's
is
my
thinking
money.
that the $400,000 is theirs.
No.
It's not yours.
They pay me
It's for the
commission.
business. I saw the comments online.
Hey.
People are like, $400,000. All right. It belongs to the business.
Business.
It's not your money.
Actually, it's a problem I've seen many people do.
Yeah.
You don't pay yourself salary, you eat out of the business.
But you eat the business. So a lot of people are doing that. So it's preparation. If you prepare and take the journey, God will bring the opportunity. Lydia, you're already a very successful person by many standards. Yes, I agree. We agree. So then you started coming to Business Garage. Very interesting, because back then Business Garage wasn't even online.
No.
It was live. You used to drive here from home at 7 o'clock. One would think, when you've done what NLS has done, you should sleep in. Business Garage, all those people, what do they know? So what has inspired you to be so engaged when, to many people, a lot of people who are watching you here right now are not nearly or even closely, they are not anywhere close to the degree of success you have, but they feel like they have nothing to learn from this platform. In fact, sometimes they feel like, okay, let's see what's happening. Why do you keep doing these things?
Of coming to Business Garage.
Yeah, engaging with Business Garage, when you should already be successful in many people's eyes.
I would like to actually say, there's a friend of mine who worships from here, Stephen Mugabe, Dr.
Dr. Stephen Mugabe, yeah.
I would say Stephen is like, I can't say best friend, but he's my friend. Steve comes to me, I think, like the time Worship Harvest was starting. So he tells me, come and pray from Worship Harvest. He even called me and reminded me yesterday. I assured Steve, because I was Anglican Church of Uganda. I told Steve, I don't think I like where you're going. You know those things? I told Steve off. He told me, Lydia. He kept on insisting. I said, but Steve, I failed to find a good Pentecostal church which is growing people. They are all not growing. Steve said, Lydia, please try. Then along the way, a friend of mine, Jerry, comes to visit me and tells me, come to Katikati. Here I am driving from Ntinda, Chwatule to Katikati. I enjoyed Katikati. It was, I think, you and Jeremy, the location pastors. My head was like, wow, Steve, you should have told me. You know, you're so mean. I blamed him. Steve smiled and said, don't worry, it's only just 2 weeks into this, don't worry. So I drove to Katikati every single Sunday. Then I think I was like, another friend of mine tells me, try Nalia. So I said, I'll see. Jean calls me and says, please come to Nalia. Jean Motavazi, I come to Nalia. Then they introduced the Business Garage. But I had made so many mistakes in business. You know when you know your mistakes? And it is you who knows your mistakes. Wherever you walk, everyone is like, you're doing well, you're okay, you're doing well. But I'm like, there are so many mistakes. In my head, I'm thinking, I am carrying the company by myself. You know, when you travel, and when I noticed, you travel and go for work. I had so many trainings then. So you travel and go for work, but I would work 24 hours. In the morning when office is working, I am working. In the night, I am also doing my trainings. So I was like, how do I go away from these so many mistakes? There were so many mistakes I had done in the past 10 years, so many. So I was like, I need a space where I need to grow out of my mistakes and grow the company to stop being about me, and I detach. So that's when I came to Business Garage. I was like, no way, this can't be happening. You come to a church, Pentecostal. There I was like, about my journey with God was, it's a, by the way, yes, I pray. That's about it. So I come to a space. It's about business. My Anglican church, they ask you for money, but they are not helping you grow this money. I remember I called my auntie, who actually felt so sad. I used to go with her to that church in Makere. I told her, no longer, I'm not coming back. She's like, what? I said, your church just keeps on asking and asking. They're not helping me grow this money. So she said, Kare mwana wange. I didn't go back. I came to the 10 o'clock service. Then I think, I don't know, as just perusing and like this Business Garage, I hate to wake up, but I was like, you know what, Lydia, if I have to go away from my many mistakes I've made, I have to sacrifice my morning sleep. So I had to wake up every morning to attend Business Garage. I came first time, I was like, it's doable. Second time, I would even wake myself up at 6 and I'm like, let me go. So it has been one of those spaces I've been in, and I can happily say I have had to change so many things, look at the people who I'm around, my friends. Not that I hate you, but I had to get to a space whereby I had to be around people who had the same vision around, like what I believed in. I love you, I care about you, but I had to find my feet. I didn't have my feet. You're living a life, you're okay, now I have to go out and hang, and then this. I love you regardless, but I had to wake up and build a business. And I think the turnaround happened when I had a daughter. I said, now, is she going to wake up, go to school, go and look for a job? Let me try and do something that she's going to come and take over. Let me put systems in place that even if I'm out of this world, there are systems and she can just come and jump over. So I had to face my fears, change my atmosphere, the people I'm surrounding myself with. I had to be with people in the same growth space as me for me to grow as a person and the business.
Wow. Wow. Oh, that was brutally honest.
It was, wasn't it?
I love the Anglican Church. They are wonderful people. So please, she's just telling her story. One last question. Your faith journey. Yeah. Your faith journey. You said that you were just like, God, I pray, etc. So what has been the journey been like in these last 2 years? Because the assumption is if you come to Business Garage, all you're getting is business knowledge, but your faith is not growing. How has that been for you?
I would like to say, I don't want to blow for myself. I'm such a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. The things which used to make me lose my breath, attachments to some things, I'm like, you know what? I am nothing without God. I think all the things I've gone through, I am nothing without God. So I'm a work in progress. I have to be around particular people. I know everyone who knows that Cheeky Lydia of before, who was stubborn, who was this, will not believe. I want to say I'm a work in progress, and I love what the Lord is doing with myself and my life and everything around me.
Amen.
Yes, I just love everything happening around my life. The things which would make me angry before, I'm like, it's not me. It's not me. I don't think I'm ready to go into the next world, but even if I did, I'll be like, you know what? It is well. The things which made me lose my breath before. These days I'm like, you know what? It could be worse.
You have peace.
It could be worse. I'm in a very, very good place. Before you get angry, oh, there is this party, they haven't invited me. Why? Oh God. You begin boxing yourself and punching yourself. Oh, my friends were here. You guys, I'm at peace. I think it comes, I don't think it's growing up. It's...
No, sometimes age comes alone. So it's not growing up.
It's not growing up, my friend. But you can watch
It's one of those things that I'm in a very, very good place. I go to bed when I am full at heart. The people I am around, I now appreciate people for who they are, for what they've gone through, for what they not, or for this, or now this. I am at peace with myself.
Wow. Wow, Lydia.
Yes.
Wow, Lydia. Our time is up, but I'm going to ask one more. And then you joined Harvest Institute.
Wow,
people should be thinking, people of Harvest Institute, for those who don't know, it's a leadership experience we do here at Worship Harvest. It's not for Worship Harvesters only. No. In fact, a lot of the people are not from Worship Harvest. But you joined Harvest Institute. How has that been? How has the Harvest Institute experience been for you? No words.
I had made mistakes again in business. Like, you know, you employ, actually, I kept on dodging leading NLS. Like you see, I call myself the business development manager. I kept on avoiding. I was like, my strength is not leading. My strength is going out, looking for the money and growing the business. It was never my strength. Then I sat and said, it was last year, I think, after Business Garage, I get in touch with the Nomad team to do rebranding and everything. I talked to Kamara and I talked to Jeremy. I left that room. I remember that time, I had recruited a person like to manage the office. But she came in as a manager, not a leader. You know when someone comes in, I'm a manager, she's by the book. I would not say nothing practical, she was by the book. So I told myself, Lydia, I need to face these fears. At the end of it all, I'm going to steer this ship for as long, because I realized every single day you'd get a manager, they would always come back. But now Lydia, this, and the people at office never ever respected everyone who came in as the manager. They always came back to me. So these few mistakes I did, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and do this and grow myself from shying away from being a leader, and I grow my leadership skills. So that's the beautiful thing Harvest Institute has done for me. I feel like giving up, but I'm like, you know what, if I don't do it until the end,
you're going to
I will not ever lead this group.
Including writing that book.
Yes, we want the book.
So I think it was about meeting the Nomad team and realizing, you know what, if they can lead, why can't I do this? So I was like, go in. Actually, it was actually, I think, after when we were doing the rebranding, I had recruited a manager who was a manager, not a leader. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. I come back for Christmas. I remember I enrolled. A friend of mine called Jennifer told me, Lydia, you can do this. I said, but that course whereby you write a book. I don't want to write. She says, Lydia, you can do it. So I met the Nomad team end of last year. I come back January. I think she was so stressed that I wasn't around. I had gone away for a work trip again. So she stressed me towards the end, and I said, but I can do this. So when I joined the first class, and she told me, I think everyone doesn't respect me because they think you're the vision bearer. I just told myself, whatever comes my way, it is okay. So she resigned. I said, it's fine. So the leadership and the many mistakes I've done have helped me, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Successful people are always growing.
Yeah.
They get into growth environments. They get into places like that. You know, Harvest Institute. It is some of you think you're at a level of success where you don't need to keep growing. Well, I'm praying for you. Next year, Lydia, you know what's going to happen? I've been talking with, and all my friends are your friends. Yeah, like Nomad are your brand people. Those are my people. Joseph Raboso was saying that this shirt here is a Peace for Africa shirt. Those are my. So basically, there is an ecosystem of kingdom businesses that God is starting to build. That's going to propel this nation forward. Next year, we are starting School of Business as the second year to Harvest Institute for those who want to take the business angle. This year we started School of Ministry. There are some people who are going through that. So School of Business, School of Performing Arts is coming up, and many others. But what we always do, year one is building the leader, because we believe you're the most important asset before we start talking about what you're going to do. So become the leader that you should be, Harvest Institute, then go to School of Ministry for ministry, go to School of Business for business, and all the others that will come up, School of Technology, etc. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. I've been seeing the comments. People want Lydia back. We will have her back one of these Sundays. It's so much. It's such a great blessing to have you. She thought she would collapse.
Yeah, you've made it.
Being here talking, but you've made it, and you've inspired hundreds of people who are watching live and those who watch these videos later. We are so proud of you, Lydia. B3. I feel like we should pray for Lydia. Yeah.
And my daughter and my sisters.
Yeah, Lydia and her family, her daughter and us. Thank you, Father, for Lydia.
Yes, Lord.
We believe that you've called her for a time, such a time as this. When we see her story, we see your hand.
Yes, Lord.
We see your hand, and we know you're not done with her. We know that the future is so bright, it's so big, it's so great. You've protected her. We continue to proclaim and speak that protection over her, and favor surrounds her as a shield. So we bless her. We thank you and honor you for this really awesome daughter of yours, who is going to change many, who is already changing many people's lives, and is going to go up to greater and greater heights. In Jesus' name, amen. And Father, we thank you for our friends who are watching right now. We bless them. We bless their businesses. We bless their endeavors. They shall continue to be a blessing to this nation, to this generation and beyond. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks so much for joining us for Business Garage. See you next Sunday, 7:30, for more of these incredibly inspiring stories by Ugandans who love Jesus and who love to create environments that bring economic prosperity to many people instead of just themselves. This is Business Garage. Bless you.